And the three-day conference led by the Faith to Action Network came to an end today in Nairobi as the issue of women's rights in churches continues to be discussed while encouraging steps to achieve gender equality in churches. The organization's rallying call is to other church leaders and actors across Africa to review how to understand the calling in the face of gross gender injustices in our countries, churches, and communities globally. Dole Mbuvi now reports.
Women and girls continue to face various struggles and challenges that are linked to gender inequality that weakens women's rights. This problem has structural and ideological roots in spite of many states having legal frameworks that protect women. The whole of society and all institutions are implicated, including the church. For many decades, women's rights activists led by the World Council of Churches in Christian Religion have been condemning the sexual violence that is said to continue to be witnessed in churches around the world and to deny the rights of women in churches.
Our churches are not always the safe places or safe spaces God has called us to be. Our theological institutions do not easily reflect or include women, and their curricula remain gender biased and fail to address core social issues such as gender inequality and gender-based violence. We confess that we have not decisively advocated for gender equality or an end to gender-based violence. We have often been complicit by our silence about cultural practices that undermine the dignity and rights of women and girls and promote or condone different forms of gender oppression and violence.
But the big question still remains, what does the church have to say about gender equality?
And I think at a very deeper level, we who are living in colonial places, we know that scriptures were misinterpreted in ways that justified racism. And so having this kind of legacy, women have been able to understand that it is possible for scriptures to be misinterpreted as it is here in ways that justify the inferiority, the marginalization, and it's also in the statement. So gender equality becomes something that is a corrective measure so that the fundamental belief that all churches subscribe to is that all human beings are created in the image of God. So if that fundamental belief was upheld, then we wouldn't even be talking, we wouldn't even be here.
The network now says it will advocate for people's rights to freedom of beliefs and religion and resist stigma and discrimination, speaking out against gender inequality and gender-based violence from the pulpit and other public spaces.
We were tired of being called gatekeepers in our own communities, and we said, how do we go back and make sure we bring about the change within our settings? So how do we make our congregations safe spaces and inclusive spaces for everyone? So over the last 2 years, we've been developing this program, and also we've had online consultations where we had discussions on gender issues, where we had theological reflections, where we discussed the protocols.
We are continuing to mainstream within the various arms of the church and departments, because we realize that if we don't do that, we will still continue to be where we were. Since we've been moving on now, we've taken a bold step.
Although it seems that there is no other thing that is discussed as much in the church today as the issue of women who serve in their pastoral positions, the network has committed to support one another to build the church's competence in responding to challenges related to gender, disability, and the youth. Dole Mbuvi for Hope TV, Nairobi.